I woke up at 4 this morning, which is been my designated automatic processing time. That seems to be when I'm the least guarded. And I didn't start waking up at 4 in the morning until this whole process really ramped up and started to pick up speed, gain in intensity. And through this whole thing, I've touched into so much grief, so much trauma. There's been buckets of tears, tears of despair, tears of joy, tears of feeling broken. And recently, on the tail end of this grieving that I've shared about, there's been this thing that I have been avoiding, or another way to say it is that I've been it's been asking to be addressed. And I think it's something that in communities that we don't see a lot of, and I would say it falls under the general heading of emotional repression. But in this case, it's anger. It's rage, and it's asking to be shared. It's asking to be felt. It's asking to be acknowledged. I didn't know if I was going to come and make a video about this or not. But in my conversation with my friend yesterday, I'm like, I'm just letting it all hang out, you know? In being set up in this existence and knowing that there was a better way at some point when I tapped into it, or what it seemed like was a better way, and as things got more and more open for me, there was an increasing frustration. A frustration in not being able to express myself, and a frustration in not and feeling like desperately alone through this. I know that's why when we get into communities about awakening, that we seem to be so desperate to want to connect, that we want to have conversations about this, because it feels so fucking alone. And I was mad. I felt for the longest time, especially before I even knew there were communities, that I felt like I was the only one that was seeing this stuff. And that's only part of what I want to talk about today. But more, I want to just keep coming back and keep focusing on repression of emotions, and how many videos do you see, how many things do we see teachers, speakers talk about how to not feel anger anymore, how to not feel sadness. My particular one, I was right now is anger, because I was afraid of it. I'm not afraid of it anymore. When I was out there getting loaded and shooting dope, and just massive dysfunctional patterns, I was afraid of it because it manifested in pretty horrible ways, and people got hurt, and I hurt myself, and ended up in pain in prison for 4 years. And I think there's this stupid fucking notion of either repressing this stuff or avoiding it. And I think it's rampant. But he was running away from it. And I guarantee you, in the middle of this process, before all the shadow work is done, you have it. I'm imagining a person right now just making up on a scenario that says, well, I don't feel anger, and I've been around those people, and the repressed anger, it's so deep. Or it's the repressed sadness, because anger is usually right above that, but both have to be addressed. There's that repressed stuff where it's been put down for so long that you're not even aware that it's there. And then you're judging other people on it too. And it's as if the whole spiritual game, in one sense, has been wired for you to get a tighter grip on your emotions and the judgments. Oh, well, I got angry today. I got sad today. I felt out of control today. I felt like being unreasonable today. I felt like hiding today. I felt like overeating today. I felt like sleeping the day away today. That must be bad. I must be enlightened. And it's not in every teacher, of course. There's some amazing folks who I really love who are speaking about this. And also, though, there's that stuff out there where they're just trying to get you to feel better and claiming that they have something. And I'm not attacking that. I'm just using that as an example. It's rampant everywhere. There's like no attack on a specific community, whether it's spiritual or not. It's endemic, and it's set up in the human condition. And when I saw that, this rage came up. Whether it was repressed or not, because I dealt with a couple of parents who had one of them had their feelings tightly under control, and the other one tried to gloss everything over until he'd had some booze, and then he was in a rage. And then when I responded that way at a young age, I can remember, because I had to verbally and sometimes physically defend myself, my mom verbally attacking me because I had gotten so good at defending myself, like I can lay people out with a fucking word. You know, that really went against my very nature as a very tiny, small, soft, compassionate kid to have to develop these weapons. And she attacked me and was like, you just go right for the throat. And subsequently punched me there. So that was the environment that I grew up in. An awful lot of that has been worked through. I'm recounting it now to sort of show where some of this stuff might have started. But it grew. After my parents were gone or I had moved out of the house, there was still that soft, compassionate person that was just wanting to interact with people with love. And the more open I got and the more closed down I saw other people around me, I got ridiculously frustrated, hurt. You know, the frustration was unexpressed hurt, unexpressed sadness, because in order to say something to somebody about, hey, I would like to communicate with you on a different level, you have to put yourself out there more, and you have to make yourself more vulnerable than you already are, because you are at risk of rejection. And I just couldn't get my head around that. I would make small, feeble attempts at it, or gravitate towards people who I just sort of sensed in a way that were like that. And always chasing that relationship, whether it was friendship or romantic, where I could just go and be that small, tiny person, that small ball of fluff. So now There's no barriers. There's no filters. There's no antidotes. So all of this has to be felt. It's fine. It's not enjoyable. There's the deep knowing that there's no other way through this. So that's part of it. The other part of it was this epiphany when I woke up this morning, and if I had been able to capture the rant that unfolded, I would have loved to. It's just that's unfortunately that just doesn't seem to be how it works. I would have loved to have sat bolt upright out of bed and grabbed my phone and started yapping into it. And that is in that rage, which is actually something else here, because it doesn't feel like uncontrolled rage. It doesn't feel like what I experienced when I was out there getting loaded, or before I had started doing any practices or meditating or anything else like that. It feels like I'm on fire, but I'm not being burned. I don't know how to describe it. It feels like love, but it feels really, really, really fierce. And I know that, mixed with the frustration of seeing through other stuff, has created a personality where I can challenge people. I don't do it very often. Thankfully, there's enough discernment here to not do that. But when I hear somebody talk about something and I sense they're full of shit, I'm like, come off it already. And I know people aren't, everyone's at different levels. Everyone is at different levels. Not everybody is ready to just be that vulnerable in front of someone else. And if someone, if they were to be challenged at that moment, they're just going to withdraw back into their shell. So I get that. But there are other times when I see it and I'm like, no, yeah, I'm not having it. And it's that challenge because of, like, all of this is dissolving here. All of it, fucking all of it is dissolving. I cringe when I hear the word non-duality. I can't stand the phrases spiritual awakening. I don't want to hear about Satchitananda, not specifically the term, but all the stuff that's been clothed in all of this. Because what's happening here is something is saying, and I was saying this to my friends yesterday, that these are still constructs. I'm not saying it's time for everybody to drop those, but eventually they have to be dropped. Eventually it has to be just fucking this, right? Has to be. And take whatever time you need, take whatever route you need. All of those are fine, but you're gonna fucking get here. And anything that is repressed is gonna come up. Whether it's before a first shift or after a first shift, it's gonna show up. And I'm looking at stuff, I don't want to walk out the door and put my fucking awakening hat on and move through my day. Why? It's another lens through which to view everything. It has to go. It's been dissolving for forever, slowly melting. Or I just have been like, ugh. And understand that there's, just to qualify, there isn't an actual judgment of the things I'm talking about. To be crystal clear, I am talking about placing another lens, another filter over your reality. And reality isn't always love and light. It isn't always puppy dogs and rainbows and unicorns. And if you're being pulled into this process, you'll know deeply exactly what I'm talking about. These feelings aren't here all the time. When they are, I think they need to be acknowledged. I don't think they get to be indulged in a healthy manner, and I'm speaking that's from the addictive personality. I mean, you may not be able to help it, but if you can, do what you can. The third thing that was coming up was the whole thing is a fucking ruse. The whole thing is a trap, and when I mean the whole thing, I mean 360 degrees in every direction. But how are you going to get out of it? How are you going to escape it? Everything is a trap. Pop open your phone and doom scroll. That's a trap. It's not set up by anybody. There's not some devious person behind the scenes doing all of this, nor do I sense that it's even deliberate. It might be, but I highly doubt it. But it's that invitation. Fall into this. Identify with this. Just look at the fucking political spectrum right now. Everybody's mad. Everyone's triggered. And it's not like I see actual people there. I see archetypes. I see personality traits that are so overblown and so over-exaggerated and just running rampant, and they have the microphone right now. And they're just inflicting on other people. And you watch everyone just fucking shredded. But it's just you. It's just showing that untapped thing. But even that is still like it's all a ruse. It's completely, it might be done innocently, but it's completely a fucking trap. And so something showed up here that said, all right, it's like this determination, not to be confused with self-will. I'm not even moving into that remedial argument right now. But I mean, if you want to pick this stuff apart, that's fine. But determination of, I am fucking standing right here. Not Ted, not the person, not the body, of just not going out and falling into the traps. Because everything is tugging at you and pulling at you for a distraction. It's also, the flip side of it is everything is an invitation. Everything is fuel for looking at stuff. Everything is open for curiosity and for inquiry. I know the pushback that was coming up here, that determination, was also another way of just weariness of falling into the traps over and over and over, just endlessly. Fuck. I still don't have a lot of people I talk to about this, and sometimes there's a loneliness, like it's contented and yet it's lonely. When I do get the rare opportunities to talk about it, it's delightful, and that's why I'm here. Here as in videoing this stuff. If I can lose my shit, if I can show that not only do you have to go through all this stuff? But it's fucking survivable. And better, if that's even such a word, it doesn't mean it stops, but it's survivable. And you can move through it. Don't like using the word better. You guys understand what I mean. And it's necessary. Then maybe, just maybe, that might give one other apparent person the courage to open up and go, okay, what's here? Do it at your own pace. For God's sakes, don't do anything stupid. Take it in tiny tidbits. Take little bite-sized chunks out of it. But you're trapped. You're trapped and you're not trapped. The only thing that's trapped here is what you think you are. And it's weird. We fucking defend it and defend it and defend it and defend it. What you really are lets everything go through. My teacher, first one from years ago, told me, and it kind of registered and it kind of didn't. So there's room for everything. There's room for all of it. And I remember feeling a little bit apprehensive, like on like an energetic level, going, what do you mean all of it? Like, lady, I'm pissed. Or lady, if I start crying, I might not ever stop. It's so much clearer now. There is room for all of it. I appreciate the tiny group that is here. The few people that are kind of checking this stuff out. I really do. I thought about sharing that I had started a channel with friends or just like randomly out there, and I'm like, no, I'm not doing that. Let's let the folks that are in it, let's let that somehow or another get to them organically. And it didn't matter if there were 3 people or 3 million, but let's do this the way that feels best. Not everyone is going to have the expression of anger, but it's in there. Or you may have worked through that and yours is a different flavor. It could be repression of sadness. It could be repression of fear. It could be repression of personal boundaries, of setting boundaries for yourself. I've seen enough folks out there that their thing is they tend to go inward and be introverts, and then just torture themselves on the inside and are so meek and made themselves so small on the inside that that's their thing, of learning like slowly to just express, or at least to start with, to be okay with how they're feeling. The thing that's coming with this right now is that I could go on rants about society or other people, and the funny thing is there's no fucking blame. There isn't. You did this, they did that. It just happened. There's zero blame. That's the weirdest thing. This is like the purest form of anger. It's like anger love that I've ever felt. It's not. It doesn't. The only thing that has caused me any discomfort about it was when I considered not sharing. I know that there is a magic in opening up It's not for everybody, but if you have a person you can mirror with, or if you have a group that you feel safe in, there's a magic to that doesn't always happen processing by yourself. And if not, then journal. I wrote and wrote and wrote pages of stuff and just let it all hang out. I think that's super important. It's like write down, see where you're still trapped, see where you're believing the illusion, see where you're certain that the world is against you, see where it is that you think you're a victim. That's a tough one. I could blame my mom. But a couple of years ago, it got really clear when I saw her patterns that it was done to her. And then I saw the patterns of my grandfather, who I just knew somewhat and knew without knowing specifics that it was done to him. And I was listening to, what was it? Violet the other day, if you guys know Violet's page. And she said something that felt like I had been hit over the head with a hammer. And she said, and I realize all this is conjecture, this is all structure, this is all in form, whatever, but she said something that was so profound. She goes, I walk this path. I walk this path for those before me who couldn't. And the enormity of that just clobbered me. And then instead of blaming mom or my grandfather or anyone else that had a hand in each generation breaking this succeeding generation, I just had this love, and I felt like I was looking down at this long line of people going, okay guys, I'll do what I can. No idea if I will succeed, but I will openly and willingly go, all right. Has to happen at some point. Watch out for the trap. Look around it. And yes, in one aspect you can say it's all you and it's all one. But I think it's the trap of identification and saying I am this or I am that, or the trap of separation and going they are over there and they're assholes. You ever heard people say, I hate people? So cringe. Fucking cringe. I love people. Even when they're irritating and obnoxious and just total basket cases. And the irony is, when you hear people say, I hate people, I look right at them, and I've even said it before and made it as lighthearted as possible. I'm like, yeah, but motherfucker, you're a people. And guaranteed, you've gone around bopping through your life thinking everything's great. And you've pissed people off. And those people have said, I hate people about you. Like, stop already. Stop. I hate people says nothing more than I am unwilling to look at my own reactivity about stuff. And again, I'm not talking about healthy physical boundaries or space boundaries. That goes without saying. I'm just talking moving through the world or watching dumb shit on TV, or somebody cuts you off in traffic, or whatever the day-to-day mundane things are. I hate people. Like, come on, man, get the fuck over yourself. Who the fuck do you think you are? You're no more special than any of the other people. It's foolishness. I don't mean to sound directly judgy about it. Clearly there's some strong perspectives on it here, because I think it's a block. And I think moving out externally is a massive deflection. We're all going to get to this point at somehow or another, whether it's post-shift, pre-shift, it's going to be there. You're going to face this stuff. That's fine. Take your time. You know? Rage against society. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that. But when all of that is out there, you're going to have to come back and reconcile. And that's what this whole thing seems to be. This whole path here has seemed to be is a reconciliation. And the refusal to apologize for my existence or to justify my existence by what I do or what I say. Look at me, aren't I great? How many of us are doing that? Everybody's trying to justify their existence when they don't need to. You exist because you are, because this is it. And that's amazing. Nothing else needed. Heartbreaking to watch people, especially when you see the extreme versions on social media, have to go bigger and above and beyond and try to just go, hey, I'm fucking valid, when everyone is just screaming to be seen in quite possibly a very small, quiet way. What's happened here is the need to be seen has been replaced, or shall I say, is being replaced with this presence, this sense of presence. Presence sees the illusion of Ted. Sort of. I realize that's a weird way to say it. I don't know if I have the correct words to say it that doesn't set somebody off into whatever the fuck. At any and all times, it seems to me that you, as the imaginary individual person, which you're not, is wrapped in love. Is just cocooned by presence. And you have to notice every time you wake up, like, fuck, you're still here. You haven't winked out of existence, nor is it actually possible, but that's another discussion. And I'm not saying that you jump up out of bed and then you get super excited and you fucking go skipping through a field, but just notice it. It's like you're being carried the entire time. The whole time. You never had to do any of it on your own. You never had to do any of it. I, for one, find that there is love for everything here. Love for all apparent individual people. Love for nobody. Love for nothing. Love for nothing expressing itself as everything. And the only time that I get that frustrated is when I seem to have put conditions and boundaries and expectations on that love to be reciprocated or returned in a specific fashion. And yet the love is still there. It's only when that false sense of identity pops up and says, well, they should have recognized what you did, what you said, what is here. They should have looked at that sunset with you. They should have stopped and enjoyed that movement. They should have enjoyed that song that you really love absolutely as much as you do. That's just not the way it is. And when that drops, then it's like, boom, back into, it's all love. But I don't think you get to the full expression of this without going through that rage and that anger. And that's why the Tibetans have those, what do you call them? Wrathful deities. Mahakala, who's my favorite. All fierce, yelling, skulls around his neck, like big third eye. And I think I heard an Adyashanti video a long time ago that he says you have to get past these guys. And by past, I mean through. You don't get to go around them. And what seems to be here was avoiding that rage. Just avoiding acknowledging it, avoiding that frustration, which underneath was that hurt little wounded child, you know. And fuck, because sometimes this is stupid, you know. Not right now. It's pretty nice. That's all for today.